Here we are in the Week 2 assignments folder. And these are some of the things you'll be learning about this week. For this week's reading, you'll just be working through Chapter 1, the 19th Century, an Expanding Field. You might want to have a look at the e-lectures for this week. The first one is on textile designs by William Morris. William Morris was a very talented designer in England, as we'll learn this week, during the 19th century, an advocate of the arts and crafts movement. He was also a fabric designer, and many of Morris's fabric designs are still produced today and used in home interiors still. The other article is about Lydia Pinkham, who was a late 19th century American woman who started making home remedies in her kitchen. And this little article is about the advertisements for her products. And they frequently targeted women to buy the product, but they often carried embedded messages about the world that the women lived in and their place in it. And they're really kind of interesting examples of 19th century advertisement. This week, you'll start your first bibliography and design in context assignment. You're going to find a work of graphic design that is related to this week's reading, but which is not illustrated in the textbook. And the first thing you're going to do is research that work of graphic design. And then you're going to examine the intent of the work and how meaning and value operate within it. You're also going to try to understand the work within the context of its time and how the work reflects the history of contemporary culture. And then you're going to respond to some of your colleagues' posts to keep an ongoing discussion. So the first part of this is the bibliography, and you're going to create a bibliography on that example of graphic design that you've chosen, and you must include at least one book, one scholarly journal article, and one web link. And be sure to have a look at the reference tools section, the link in the main menu. That'll help you with that. And then this creative brief is to give you a guideline of what to include about your discussion of this piece of graphic design. You may not know all of the answers, and this certainly doesn't have to be a long, detailed paper. I mean, it shouldn't be more than one page at the most. And like I said, you may not know all of these answers, but just try to speculate about them and try to understand what the intent of this work was and how it affected its audience. Then you're going to think about the work in the context of its time. And you're going to do that by finding at least one historical connection to the work. And the connection is really just to show how it participates in similar trends, ideas, or movements. And these historical connections can include just about anything: social, political, economical, musical, just about anything, and try to figure out how these different things are connected. And then you're going to post your image, bibliography, and creative brief to the discussion board. And then you'll keep a discussion going by just responding to a few of your classmates' posts. You don't have to respond to all of them, but one or two, three or more, however many you'd like. And this assignment is worth 25 points. So it'll take some thought and some consideration, but like I said, it doesn't need to be an extensive paper by any means. And you'll turn that in by, by going up, by clicking the link there at the top, the bibliography and design and context. Just click that link, and that will take you into this week's forum. Just click the Create Thread button, and then you can add your post. And this week, you're going to start on your project, the museum exhibition project. and you're going to start working on the conceptual phase, which is not due until February 19th. And what you're going to do is come up with an exhibition topic, an overview. So you're going to come up with an idea or a topic for an exhibition, and these are some considerations to include. This, again, does not have to be a long, involved item. I've included some examples of museum exhibition overviews. Again, they're not long. This doesn't need to be more than 1 page long, and you have 3 weeks to work on it now. But it just needs to be a description of what your exhibition is going to be about. I've included some links to various museum exhibition overviews to give you an example of what these are like. The first one is an exhibition that was held recently at the Metropolitan Museum in New York on Valentine de Boulogne. Here is their exhibition overview, and notice that it's only a few paragraphs, but it describes the exhibition, what it intends to do, and so it's not a long, detailed thing at all. So have a look at a number of these. Some are longer than others. Some include more information than others. But look, this is just a long paragraph about that. Again, they're not long, but be sure to read all of those, the details about the overview and topic so that you can learn more about that. This one's a little bit longer than most. There it is. And again, it's not due until February 19th, so you have some time to work on it. But give it some consideration and thought, and you'll have to look through the textbook for a topic and see what appeals to you. In this week's Webliography, there are some links to lithography in the 19th century, which you learned about this week. This shows you how some other artists have used lithography. William Henry Fox Talbot was a photographer, early photographer, and there's some information about him. So that's this week's assignment. If you have any questions, be sure to email me with them, but have fun this week.